We begin tonight over at the State House as the governor weighs in on a plan to overhaul our state's congressional maps, plus reaction from our State House insiders on what happened earlier today in the Senate.
We're getting to that in a moment, but first, by a vote of 29-17, the Senate did not pass an agreement that would allow lawmakers to come back for a special session to redraw congressional lines, meaning even if the House sends the bill over to the Senate, lawmakers will likely not have enough time to pass it before the session ends on Thursday. The push to redraw the seats ahead of the midterm elections has gotten national attention after a U.S. Supreme Court ruling gutted part of the Voting Rights Act that protected congressional districts made up of mostly minorities.
Supporters want to redraw the 6th congressional district, the state's only Democratic district currently held by Congressman Jim Clyburn. Listen.
Democrats across the country have perfected the art of gerrymandering districts to protect their power and weaken conservative representation. The people of South Carolina have every right to expect this legislature to review our congressional districts and ensure they are fair, constitutional, and reflective of our state today.
I don't have a problem with redrawing the lines and redistricting, but when you intentionally dilute the black voters across this state, that is not fair. And to be frankly honest with you, it seems very racist.
And as we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, we are hearing from Governor McMaster tonight. He issued a statement just a short time ago saying lawmakers still have 2 days left to finish its work, including giving full consideration to the important question of redistricting.
Now, his statement did not mention a special session. Tonight, I asked our State House insiders if they believe the governor will do that, call a special session. Here's what they had to say.
I don't think the governor wants to abuse that power. That is preserved for emergency purposes, not political leisure. I think this would qualify as political leisure, particularly when the Senate Majority Leader said the quiet part out loud. South Carolina is the most gerrymandered state in the country. If you unravel the 6th congressional district, not only will it do something illegal that likely will not pass the court's muster test because you have to keep communities of interest in line, that part of the Voting Rights Act is still into place. But what you're also going to do is put Joe Wilson and Jim Clyburn in the same district. You're going to go from a 6-1 map to potentially a 4-3 map, which is going to make South Carolina even more competitive. So I don't think in a real authentic way, outside of noodles being wet and wiggling and folding to the will of Donald Trump, I don't think Republicans in an authentic way want to really actually do something as relates to this map.
Well, and the other issue with this, JR, is you look at where we are in the legislative calendar. We're in the 2 days left in the legislative session. With only 2 days left, they're not going to be able to do that much between now and 5 o'clock on Thursday. The House continued to debate their version of the bill in House Judiciary this afternoon. They had started this morning with testimony and it got raucous, and then there were protests going on inside the House chamber, inside the State House today, people calling for democracy not to be rigged. And when we look at this, we recognize the fact that there are really big competing forces going on here. And it seems a lot of the Republicans in the House, some in the Senate, are basically figuring out how to bow to the White House in this particular case and try to get something done so that hopefully that, can get a greater majority in the U.S. House. But here's the flip side of this. If this happens, and it is done this way, if the political tides ever turn, what's going to happen in South Carolina then?
And again, to reiterate, following today's developments at the State House, there is no word on if the governor plans to call a special session.
And we have much more on the story, including our full interview with our State House insiders right now. You can find it on our website. That's WLTX.com.